On January 10th, 2025, a clip of a man pulling up to a barista in Tempe, Arizona started to go viral on Instagram and Twitter. In this clip, the man is calmly asked if he has been to this drive-through before. But what happened next is diabolical.
Hi, how are you? Good. Have you been here before?
Yeah.
Sir, you need to leave. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Call 911.
The man's name was Nautica Malone, a 27-year-old who frequented Bikini Bean Coffee, a coffee shop where women dress semi-nude to attract more male customers. If you start to deduce this clip, you can make some assumptions about this interaction. It's obvious that he did something like this before, or he was trying to be pantless in secret around the shop because the barista already had her phone out even before he pulled out to the drive-thru. Whether he was doing it or not is unknown. Maybe he was just chilling in a parking spot next to the shop getting his dirty on while he watched the employees from a distance and they finally caught off. Now, what we do know is what tragically occurred after the incident. After the clip started exploding on social media, it was reported that Malone unalived himself a couple days later. It started trending on Twitter and Instagram with the hashtag Gunasai. But the worst of all is that he had a family. He had a wife and a young child, a daughter. Now, whether he was a pervert or not, nobody should unalive themselves with this type of manner. Now, you might be asking yourself, what even is gooning? Gooning is basically an extreme form of aging, and it is also the most extreme level of addiction because porn and vaping addiction is already really bad for men, and it has reached a new extreme level, extreme high. And this is the most extreme form of this addiction. It has reached the level now that we can compare it to the like cocaine or heroin addiction because it is so dangerous now. And you can only imagine if you do goon, if you faff and edge, how bad it is for you. And the internet is so deprived, bro. The level of degeneracy there is, it's appalling. And the people who goon develops really some weird habits, bro. And there are reasons for this. But what are the side effects of gooning? Bro, our brain has a pleasure and pain balance system. Every time you engage with activity that is really pleasurable for you, your brain wants to maintain balance. In physiological term, we call it homeostasis. Homeostasis means that our system, our body and our brain has a tendency to maintain balance. So every time you engage in a highly pleasurable activity or any pleasure activity, what our brain does is to maintain the balance, it increases the pain as well, so that pleasure and pain reaches a balance. If you engage in a really pleasurable activity, after a while our brain automatically start increasing the pain in our system inside of us so that the pleasure and pain becomes balanced. But what happened is that it doesn't actually balance tends to zero or reaches normal equilibrium. Instead what happens is that our brain goes a little bit up and pleasure goes a little bit down, which is why you feel empty inside. This is why you feel like you need to engage in the pleasurable activity, or you feel bored, or you feel like there is a void inside of you because the pain has gone up and the pleasure has diminished. But this is our brain and our body's normal way of protecting us because it wants to protect us from the harm that comes with engaging too much with the pleasurable activity, whether it's physiological harm or real life physical harm, because there is a lot of IRL harm that can come from this as well. So this is our body's way of protecting us. But what happens when someone or when you goon for 24/7? You can already kind of imagine where I'm going with this, because if you goon for 24/7, what happens is that your pleasure goes so up when you climax eventually, and when you engage in this dopaminergic activity for so long, your pleasure goes so up that when the pain increases and overshoots way higher than your pleasure. So you can imagine what happens to a gooner. So obviously if he goons so many times, 2 4 7 days per day, then his pain will be so high that he will feel like depressed, he will feel anxious. And it's not like there is something wrong with him in terms of mental health, it's just his own activity has made him depressed because he has engaged with so much pleasurable activity that his pain has overshoot way higher than the balance. So he feels depressed and anxious, and it's a negative feedback loop because every time he feels painful, he feels stressed, depressed. This goon addict, whether he is a guy or a girl, goes back to gooning because that's where the pain relief is. It acts like a pain relief. But what he doesn't understand is that the pain is generated from gooning itself. The depression, the anxiety, the panic attack, and the empty void that he feels inside is coming from the addiction itself. The addiction is fueling this feeling. It's not that he's feeling this way and he's going to the addiction, which in some people cases that might be true because of other trauma, but in many cases, especially people who didn't go through that much stress or traumatic experience in life, it's just that they are addicted to this thing. Their addiction is the thing that is fueling their depression and anxiety, and they are using this addiction as a pain relief, but they don't really understand that what they believe as the pain relief is the thing that is fueling their depression. It is fueling their anxiety. So I am saying all this to explain to you that this is really a horrible addiction, and it's no less than a cocaine or heroin addiction. And what worst is that this is available for free in your pocket all the time. And gooning is the most extreme form of this addiction, that is, it is extremely harmful for our psychological and physiological health. So if you are addicted to this addiction, do you seriously think that you shouldn't quit? You should keep on going. This is just a harmful, pleasurable experience, because science told us otherwise. There is evidence that this is harmful for us. There are evidence, even though some people lie and brainwash you that vaping, jerking, etc. are good for you, but we all know that the baseline addiction is bad for you. But this is on another level of extreme, on another level of high, that your physiology is not meant to experience. Do you think that it is extremely harmful for you? Now gooning is becoming an epidemic of addiction of the young people, not just young people but young adults and young male in general, even older male as well. And it's really really horrible, and it has extremely bad side effect, not only on the individual itself but on the society. And unfortunately, as much as we like to think that internet is a safe place, it's not. It's a very horrible place, and the effect of this bad habit is reaching the children, young children, because a lot of young children are getting exposed to this terminology and they are starting to form the habit of gooning, and it's really bad for them. And we have to work toward protecting our children, the young generation, from figuring this out, figuring this bad habit out. And if you cannot do that, then the next generations will have to suffer a lot, and you and I don't want that. But what if you are addicted to gooning? What if you cannot escape this addiction even though you want to, and you have started the journey of nofap so that you don't have to engage in this activity, but you are failing, relapsing? You promise yourself that you are going to go past and stay on nofap for as long as possible, but then you 3 to 7 days later you are back where you started. You relapse and you start from day zero. Now what? If you want to change your life and you actually want to quit your addiction, then click here to check out the real reason behind your porn addiction and how the real science works and how you can actually quit this addiction. Because if you don't understand how this addiction works, you won't be able to quit this addiction. So click here to watch that video now. Click.